again, been a long process. We started with the teardown a while ago, and then other projects came up, baby came up.
We were going to do a much simpler build to it, and it's just gotten more and more complex as we went along.
We did not intend to do code this far with it, but with each additional thing that we do, we have to take it a little bit further.
But we're doing that because it's just turning out to be such a cool looking rig.
First it was tires and rims and a lift kit.
With Rattler, we knew we wanted to lift it. We knew we wanted to put some really gnarly tires on it.
Quentin, he's pretty passionate when it comes to car accessories. You'll learn that with his trucks.
Pretty much if it involves tires and rims, I just do it. But that's because I don't think nobody else wants to. I don't know why. I mean, it's one of the funner parts to do, right? Go shopping for rims and tires.
And we knew that after we lifted it, we'd have to have some running boards.
The step rails, those were completely custom. Again, those were all in his head.
I wanted it to kind of have a look of a running board with a rock guard underneath it type of a look. So again, I just tackled the internet and looked at every running board I could find. And then I do what I do with all things. I kind of morphed that into something that would work for this.
Some of the really cool things that we did with Rattler, though, were the custom stuff that my dad built. So he built the roof rack, and again, that was pretty much his brainchild.
It had like a rack system on it already when we purchased it. Something that you could put like those boxes for skis and whatnot, but it was weak. When you put our storage container for skis on it, it would just kind of blow those things out.
And it'd be a lot of money to just go bye-bye with 7 pairs of skis in there. So we decided we're going to do a new roof rack.
And this rig is going to be like our BW rig. And so he decided to, on the flat bar pieces that hold the second tier of the rack up, he took his plasma cutter and he had little anvils cut out of it.
He kind of sat down and envisioned what he wanted, and he gets part list to Cassie or gets a part list to me and says, hey, cut this out, let's do this, and let's make this.
Once we built the roof rack, we decided we needed a way to get onto the roof rack, so we built the ladders.
I didn't know how I would build it, so I do what I do with everything. I just start kind of building it in my head, and it came together. Then I solved one problem at a time. When we decided to put them on there, we were doing it more for function. If I'd have had a different door on the back, I probably would have ran it off the back. But we wanted to be able to get up the side of it so we could grab our skis off the top of it, because believe me, that's a long ways up.
And then we just wanted to make everything look super cool, so that's why we decided to go with the bumpers.
Those required a lot of effort to put together.
The amount of time that we got in building that stuff is insane. But I will say that they're very, very strong. We probably added, I don't know, 1,000 pounds to the stupid thing, maybe more, literally. I think that's what makes Rattler really unique, is the fact that everything you see on the outside and a lot of what you see on the inside was completely built. It wasn't bought. The bumpers are custom and built. The running boards are completely built. The rack on the top of it was completely built. And most of this was done by Cassie and I, as far as all the building of the stuff that we're talking about there.
Even the paint job that we did on it, the bed liner, we were still like, oh, I don't know, it might look good, it might cover everything up, or it might look like complete crap because it's bed liner. It's not really designed to go on an entire vehicle.
I've been inspired by several types of builds that I've seen over the years with bed liner paint, and we wanted it to look beefy and tough and kind of a military-ish look and feel.
And so yeah, the whole body of Rattler was sprayed with the dark gray bed liner. And then after the metal pieces were manufactured by Shane, they were sprayed with black bed liner.
A lot of projects that we do are always kind of experiments. We're just like, let's see what will happen. Let's give this a shot and see if it might turn out, it might not. And this one I really think turned out to be a really, really big win.
The day we masked was a long night, but it was fun. We just masked around the windows mostly and then slid a piece of Coro in so that the paint didn't get anywhere in like the front part of the car, so that Quentin could paint inside there.
Then of course we had to wire it all up. What we're gonna do today is we're gonna wire the lights into the rack up on the top. There's gonna be a big bar going across here. The hardest part of this is gonna be to get the wires into here. I literally have to take wires through the cab, up into here. I got one circuit that's gonna run here and another circuit that's gonna run these two lights on the side. On the other side, we got one that's gonna run up here. We gotta do the side, and then we got one on the back. So I actually have to wire 5 separate circuits up to here Quentin's project should go a little faster than mine unless he screws something up like he did this antenna right here. He was in a bad mood when he was painting this thing, and I wasn't here to stop him from being the Hulk, and he just kind of like busted it and ripped it out of there. And so now I got to figure out how to solve it. The problem is they don't make them anymore. Makes me feel real old, but this is actually a 30-year-old vehicle. That makes me feel real old, actually. Don't break anything so that I have more to do, and I'll be happy with that progress, all right?
Can't make that promise.
Okay, do what you can do.
It's got to be broken. I get to break it. Sometimes, if it's not supposed to be broken, I still get to break it.
Wiring with my dad, I don't mind helping. It went good. I think those are very complicated jobs, probably. So I'm very lucky that I don't have to do that. I'm more so just the person that has to get the stuff, and I would rather do that.
All right, so this will be the first circuit here. All this has led to this. I'm running 2 full circuits to the lights, the KC lights. So each KC light is going to have, each pair of KC lights is going to have a 12 gauge wire, which I know will be adequate. So I'll have power and a ground for 2 lights, power and a ground for 2 lights, and then this will be the power and the ground for the 2 side lights. So we're basically running 3 pairs of lights with these circuits here.
Wiring through the holes in the walls of the car, I had to do that. It was a very time-consuming process. It was not fun.
Pretty much you just kind of are there. If you're there and present, then they're happy. There's not a whole lot you can do when doing that kind of stuff. Only usually Dad's doing the brain work, Cassie's the assistant, and then you're there to grab a tool if you can. But during that time, yeah, mostly they were just chugging away slowly but surely at getting that done.
Everything I did was done as right as I could make it. Now that's just the middle. You go to the back, I spent 3 days terminating the wires in the back of that truck. And you wouldn't think about it, but everything's just so big. You got massive cables and massive junction blocks, and you know, you're running power to the jumper cable accessories that I put in the front and the back, the plugs. Then you've got power going from the isolator on both ends, front and back. You've got power going to 2 amps. You've got the trigger wires, all the speaker wires.
It was pretty complicated rewiring everything. I obviously not, I have limited skills on some of that stuff, but I was just helping with cleaning the door, all the doorways where the weather stripping goes. And then just I glued and put in new weather stripping around all of the seals on the doors.
There's an enormous amount of wiring that went into getting it done. This is probably one of the neatest jobs that we've ever done. The light bar, again, that was a group choice. No idea how I was going to do it. It's probably completely under noticed on the whole vehicle when you think about it. I mean, you see the lights, you see the KC lights up there, but what you don't really realize is the work that went into getting that bar up on top of there and looking as clean as it does. But that little square tube sitting on top of that thing probably took me a half a day. And it's pretty complex. So you got the holes in the bottom here so that I can get a socket in here and tighten the nuts where the KC lights are going to go. So the lights will sit up here and then I can bolt it there. And then the wire will go into here. And I'm going to fish them through here. They'll come down this hole right here on the bottom. And they'll pop right through the bottom of that roof. And I'll run it right back in and run it back down here. So this is a contraption that we built. We are ready to set this bar. So the whole point, you cannot put the lights on this bar like this. We got to put the bar in.
Yes.
So let's verify that it's correct. This is how you're telling me it goes. Correct?
Yes.
There you go. Catch. Okay, so now I'm starting to see a very, very, very major problem here. I don't think there's any way around this. Arrgh! I told you I spent a lot of time thinking about it, but evidently I didn't spend quite enough. This bar right there is in the way. This bar is made to bolt onto here, and I got all these holes in it, and I literally built this bar in place. When I welded these tabs on here for these bolts, they were bolted in place. And this bar was here and it was all sitting there, and I actually had a tad bit of clearance right here. But because of how thick he's got the bed liner on this plate, it's now got me to where I'm a full 1/4 of an inch that I have to slide forward, and I can't because of that bar. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna notch this so this will slide forward, and I'm gonna cut this in half so that I can rotate these individually, put my lights on, and then slide it in place. All of this could have been avoided if I wouldn't have put this bar right here, which I think looks cool and definitely adds a little support to the top of this, but it was not necessary. But again, this is what happens when you plan as you build. Sometimes you make some of these mistakes. Kissy, you need to put yourself a seam. Get down here and mark yourself right dead center on that beam. That's where I'm gonna have you cut that in half. How's that look as far as the blade being straight? I need that.
Good.
Huh? Am I about on the line over there?
Yeah. Just below it.
I want to be above it. Not? Well, that's not good. Okay, can you set that up here? Go ahead and cut it in half. My side's fitting. Is your side fitting? What the problem is? Is there something I need to know?
Nope.
Will the holes line up?
This hole.
There, that's where I'm gonna go.
Yep.
All right, now it's up to you. You can put these together up here, or we can put them together down there. What do you want to do?
I'm already up here.
You're already up here? All right, then put them on. You got them in the right order. You work on that.
So the yellow came from, again, the KC light covers. When we bought the lights, again, I didn't know this, but Dad says it's very common that they have covers for whatever reason. You take them off when you use them and you put them back on when you're not using them. And these came with bright yellow covers.
Back when we were discussing the KC lights, I didn't really agree with them. I didn't really like the mix-up of having, you know, your modern LED lights, and then you have these old halogen KC lights.
They wanted to go modern with it and put a light bar up there, but I just think something that old, you got to have traditional KC lights up there.
It definitely does give it a look. I mean, when that thing's driving down the road, those KC lights are probably one of the first things you see.
The yellow accents on Rattler are pretty much there to piss off Stephanie.
Stephanie had some major opinions about it being yellow.
You like the yellow on the left. Yeah. You are lying. I'm not. You think it looks cool.
I think it looks cool. I like it.
Did not like yellow, was not having yellow, so of course everybody gave her a hard time.
It was the only thing yellow on there, and I was like, everything's black. Like my car, I don't have very much color. It's black and white. Like, why are we throwing yellow on this car?
She was just absolutely Stephanie over them. And this went on for, seemed like an hour. While the rest of us are working, Stephanie is critiquing something that did not need to be critiqued.
Mandy, when she was designing the snake logo for the side of it, she went and she added some yellow into that.
And so we decided to kind of incorporate it into the logo and a few other things that we were working on. Not like everything yellow, just little bits and pieces to give it a little bit of color. My grandpa loved yellow, so we were messing with her about that a lot.
My dad's favorite color was yellow, and I wanted to put yellow. I'm just gonna stick with that. Yeah, that's why I did it. It has nothing to do with pissing Stephanie off. I just did it because my dad liked yellow. Yeah, that's it.
They would try to say because of Grandpa and stuff like that, but honestly it's because of the whole KC lights, and that's what they were, and so that's what just kind of started it, and they decided to put a little bit in the color of the logo, and I think it helps it pop and stand out a lot more. But I have talked him into, because he says he never liked those covers either, but he showed me the ones he's getting now. They're much cooler. They're not even totally covered. You can still use them as normal lights. They're much better now, so I'm kind of on board with them now.
You'll all remember Stephanie pitching an absolute hissy fit about the yellow covers these lights came with. So this is my compromise, because she's like, she wouldn't be seen in Rattler if I didn't do something. And look, I got 5 daughters. I spent a lot of time with those guys. So I've just learned that compromise is pretty important. So I think this is a good compromise. I think this looks really clean. So KC lights are done, installed, caps are good to go, and we're ready to go see what they look like outside.
They're really excited. It turned out really cool. You know the deal. You got to hit the thumbs up if you like our video, comment below if you have any questions, and hit that subscribe button if you want to see more of our VW Blacksmith crazy projects.